welcome to my channel again. This is the Wendy in Neverland channel, and we are here to talk about cross-stitch things. So hopefully you're at the right place. I think it's December the 10th, almost at 11th. December 10th. It's Friday. Welcome, welcome. Kind of the Christmas time here. Hopefully you're all celebrating and having a good time, or you will be celebrating and being able to get together with family and friends and whatnot. My hair is kind of flying around a little bit because I have a fan blowing on me, and I will talk about that later. I put up this tree this year. I normally don't put up a Christmas tree necessarily. This is kind of our kitchen dining room area. But these ornaments are the 12 Days of Christmas from Hallmark. So every year they came out with a new one. So next year will be the last one. And I'm really glad because I'm kind of tired of going every year and remembering to get them, because I didn't sign up for an automatic shipment thing. I just happened to see it one year and like, oh, that's really pretty. And yeah, 11 years later, here I am. And I just think that they're so pretty that they kind of blend in too much with my regular tree and all the ornaments, so I wanted to have them separate, and so I put a tree in here with them, just with them. No other ornaments. You can see there's little clumps of berries and stuff, and that's part of the tree. So anyway, let's move on. I think that for the most part, I will be talking about cross-stitch things. There's just a couple of things that I will mention that's been going on, but for the most part, that's about it. Winter's kind of a slow time around here. Okay, so I guess I can talk about some things that aren't stitchy related real quick. Yes, as I mentioned, I have the fan blowing on me because I am dealing with hot flashes, people. And for all of those who've gone through it or are going through it, you know what I'm talking about. It's like a little mini furnace that just flares up inside of you, and you're boiling hot. And then you derobe all kinds of stuff, and 2 minutes later you're freezing because it's wintertime. This is really, really bad at night when I sleep. I am constantly kicking the blankets off. And I've got a fan that blows on me all night just in case, whenever these things flare up. And then, like I said, a few minutes later, I am freezing, and so I'm covering myself up, just waiting for the next one to come. So it's not a lot of fun. And having it happen at night is kind of the worst because it keeps me awake, or it will wake me up a lot of times. So don't get a lot of sleep, which is not a good thing. I may be checking into something. I don't necessarily want to do hormone replacement therapy type of stuff, but there's got to be something to keep it from being bad enough to wake me up. Now, I am not drenching in sweat, but I do have a lovely sheen that tends to happen, so I don't know what I'm going to do exactly. It's been too busy, so I haven't really, It's a slow because it's winter, but it's busy because it's Christmas right now. So I'm dealing with Christmas things. So I don't know. I don't know when I'll kind of check into that and figure out what else I'm going to do. Talking about holidays, Thanksgiving, we had that a couple weeks ago for those of you who live in the United States. And even if you don't live in the United States, but you are from the U.S. and you celebrated for wherever you were at. We had a very quiet Thanksgiving. Christmas is potentially going to be a really quiet holiday as well. We just don't have a lot of family around that we have come over. Friends are doing stuff with their families, so it's not like we're going to gather together with them so much. So yeah, it's pretty quiet, which is kind of nice because then I don't have to cook this gigantic Thanksgiving meal because we don't need it. We don't need it, do we? So yeah, I had pretty simple stuff. Just like 3 or 4 things that I cooked. That was it. My mother-in-law came over. I don't know if she will at Christmas. Potentially she will. I just don't know. we kind of have to play that by ear. Speaking of her, she's doing well. We're still seeing the decline of things, especially when you have to ask her something that it's not even, do you remember, or anything like that. It's like, how do you, and then do something, and she can't remember those things all the time anymore. Some things as simple as turning a light on that has a little toggle switch on the cord. She doesn't remember how to do those for some of the things she has anymore. So we're still seeing the decline, but she's still doing well enough that she is okay to live in the assisted living part of the building that she's in. So, you know, I mean, we just take it one day at a time and see what happens later on. I think we'll get into some stitchy stuff, and then at the end maybe I'll talk about some other things, or maybe in the middle. I don't know. You just kind of go with the flow here. Okay, let's see. Let's start with some whips. Now, if I happen to have a video, picture, whatever, of the progress that I left off from the last video or the last time that I touched this, I will show that before. I may not say it every single time, like, oh, here's an image of where I started for this month. No, I'm just going to put it in if I happen to have it. That way I don't have to try to remember it because I forgot to go look. Okay, the first one that is just my simple little Walmart purchase, believe it or not, was this one. It's lovely. It's just a nice little easy one to take with me because I think it's a 14 count. Yes, it's 14 count, so I don't have to have a magnifier to, even though I have glasses, I still have to have a magnifier for some of those higher counts. I don't have to have it for this. I can just take stuff in, maybe I need a light and that's it, depending on where I'm at. If I were doing it in this room, I wouldn't need a light, but in a darker room I would. So I take that, I'm trying to find a paper to put behind this, and I'm able to do it just about anywhere. So here's what I have gotten done. So I believe it's just more of this brush area here from the last time. I don't think that there's anything else that I had worked on. There's a lot going on in that brush. And as I had mentioned before, the sides are, I had to cut them off a little bit. In other words, the image, I'm coming in a bit, probably around here or so. Because if I went all the way to the end on the chart, it would have been right to the end of the fabric that they provided. And I didn't know that, or I would have grabbed some different fabric when I did this. But it was just kind of something that I needed to, that I hadn't brought anything with me. There's the first mistake. They had not taken like a little traveling piece with me, and so I just stopped at Walmart and got this and started it right then. And I was like, but that's okay. It's still working out. The only thing, and I did mention this in the last video, is I don't know how high and how low it's going to allow me to stitch the chart. And because there were words at the top, I either have to not put those words in, change the words, or rearrange the words so that they will fit. So I don't know which I'm going to have to do. But yeah, there's my lovely chart for this. Yes, our cats just ate and now they want to play. It always seems like it's, yeah. It always seems like as soon as they're done eating, that is playtime. Probably just got a whole bunch of energy and now they want to do something about it. Yeah. So, I don't know how often we'll hear them. The next thing that I did some more work on from the last time I did a video, and I don't know how much I did, but I mean, you'll see if I have a video or an image, I can show it to you and you'll be able to tell how much I got done, was this one. The Just Nan Autumn in the Country. So yeah, I got a good amount finished, but I'm not completely finished. So, show you that, and here it is. So I got all of the main part done. I think there might be a year that goes in here though. It's not actually totally finished, as I mentioned. There is more to it. So I will show you. So you got that here. So I do not have this main border on the far outside part done, and all of them have the alphabet. They're a sampler to some degree, the 4 seasons. They're all put in different places, the letters, but I don't have those on there either. But other than that, so as you can see, there is a year here, and I think that's a spider hanging down, which I'm going to wait and do when I do the year. I think that's all I have left for this. There it is. Again. Isn't that nice? So I'm getting really close to finishing this one. I think out of the 4 seasons, this one's the closest to being done. So yay, 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 yay. All right, the next whip that I started working on again, and this is something that I did for this last month I started on, and it is the other season, the winter one. So what was it? Oh, Winter in the Forest is how it is worded. Again, just Nan. So a little bit different way. I mean, it all kind of has this swirliness to the inside, shaped slightly different, but yeah, it's all 4 of them have that. And here's what I have gotten done. And I know I took a video picture, so you should have seen that already. But yeah, I think it was like this stuff over here, coming up here, and doing this over here. I believe that is what I have worked on since I picked this up for this month. I'll continue working on this in December. I'm not going to put it down just because I showed it in the video, but we'll get a little bit more done with that. I don't know. I mean, there's still quite a bit to go around. I don't know if I'm going to get as much as I have on the autumn finished before I put it down. And as you can see, the letters are next to this inside part. So there'll be some more here and some more here, and then in the other 2 corners as well. So yeah, and all of these 4 season ones, the Just Nan ones there, have beads. So even though the autumn one is almost finished stitching, I will still need to add, it's just a little bit of beads, not a lot. I'll need to add those too, and so I'll need to do that with this one once I am finished with it. So yeah, it's coming along there. I did kind of want to mention before I get into some new starts that I did, kind of how my stitching wrapped up for the year. So I know some people will do whip parades or pattern parades, you know, kind of wrap up the year. I'm gonna grab my book over here. So I kept a log of not only whips that I wanted to put my hands on for this year, but I also had a page of new starts, so kind of keeping track of what I did overall. I had listed 18 whips that I wanted to get my hands on this year. And these were all, I believe, the new starts that I had done in 2020. If you followed me way back then, for 2020, I did a new start. Boy, I wish I could remember. I think it was every single day for the month of January. That was a task. I don't think I'm ever going to do that again. So I had 31 new starts for the year of 2020. And then I would, after those 31 days, then I would go back and work on them throughout the rest of the year. And whatever I had not finished kind of rolled over into 2021. And that was 18 of them that I had wanted to, I can't remember if I left any of them off. If like, oh, I really don't want to continue working on that, or if this was truly all that I had left. If that's the case, I got a lot finished. I get a feeling there's some I didn't put on this list because I don't know that I finished quite that many in 2020. But out of the 18 that I wanted to put my hands back on again, I have finished 5 of them so far. 2 of them I have not touched yet. It just kind of either I got really, really busy in the summer and slowed down my stitching amount, or whatever the reason was. I mean, I still have some in December, so I could potentially go work on one more before the year ends, and then there'll probably be one that I won't get my hands on. But I did pretty good on getting my hands on them. I just wish I'd finished more of them because 5 is not very many. Part of the problem with that is that there were, I don't know, 2 or 3 or so stitches during this year that just really monopolized my time because I wanted to get them done because they were I think they were gifts. So I really, really focused on those. And those were new starts. So those weren't even part of my WIP list. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm counting how many new. I did 22 new starts this year. They're not all finished, but I did 22. So let me see if I've got some of this here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of those 22, it looks like I got 5 finished. So I completed either new starts, so start to finish this year, or WIPs from the past, and then finish this year. I finished 10. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. That's, you know, that's pretty good. Pretty good. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that I kind of did a little wrap up of that. I'm not going to do a WIP parade. I'm not going to do a pattern parade kind of thing where I show you all the patterns I have in my life, because I don't need to do that. Too many. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so new starts. Let's go into that. I don't really have a lot of purchases. In fact, I'm trying to think if I have any. I don't think I have any purchases. There'll be a new chart that I've showed you, but I purchased that at the beginning of the year and I just now got it. Okay. Let's see. Let's talk about the butterfly temperature chart one. Now, I have talked about that before, and there are several people who are going to be doing that this year. If there's somebody out there that's going to start a SAL, or know if somebody has started a SAL for this, let me know, because that would be fun to see people's progress as well as how they changed it, because I changed mine completely. I probably will still follow how it's laid out in this grid, but I've changed all the colors and I changed my fabric. So mine's going to be completely different. I know Jody from Jody's Creative Corner is doing all purples for her colors. I don't remember what fabric she's using, but I don't think it's what they suggested in here. I don't know what Joyful Stitcher was doing. I can't remember right off. So, I had mentioned this before, so this isn't a new thing that I'm showing you. But what I did want to show you that was new is I printed off, in case you guys hadn't thought of doing this, it's a good idea. I printed off a year calendar, and yes, the boxes are pretty small, but I don't need big boxes, because then I can put in the temperature and keep track of the temperature on this, and I will keep it with my chart. And that way, if, you know, most of us are probably not going to stitch the temperature every single day. They might do a couple of days, I'm guessing, and that way, you know, you're not pulling it out every single day and just doing a few stitches for however many there were for that day. So there's a good idea in case you want one. What I did, and I showed you the fabric, and now I have finished it, was the bag. I wanted to make a butterfly bag to go with my butterfly chart, and so I did. Isn't that lovely? I used the same fabric on the back that I used, that you can see through the vinyl part, and then there's that lovely fabric up here. So good. Now, I do not have the zipper pull on here right now because I am working on it. I'm almost ready to put it on. And I think I have to put this behind it so you can see it a little better. It's this. I don't know how well that's showing up. So I'm going to show it to you without the cardboard maybe. So it's this oval resin piece. Seems like it's blurry on my camera, so I don't know if it's picking that up or not. Anyway, it's this oval piece with the greens and the blue chunky type glitter stuff, confetti stuff, and then 2 butterflies that are on there. And I will put the attachment part, and if I'm going to put any other embellishments on the top of that, and then attach it to my bag. So this is almost done. Takes a while for the resins to set up, so that's why and I think I made one and I wasn't extremely happy with it. You know, some of these things are trial and error, and this was my second go at it to make it really look exactly the way I wanted it. So yeah, I think it's gonna look lovely though. So I did go ahead and stitch my first butterfly outline. So there it is. I know I got the tree behind. So there is the first one. Let's get that thread out of the way. There we go. So there is that. I believe this is, I think it's a pear colored linen, if I'm remembering right. So like I said, I changed my fabric. It's not going to be the called for. I wanted something more naturey, like, and that's why I went with this green color. I don't know if I wrote it down in here. Let me see. No, I did not write it down in my book with all of my chart stuff, so that's a good reminder. I need to do that so I know what fabric I used. But yeah, it's lovely. It's turning out well. At first I thought that, because somebody else had said, oh, I'm stitching the outline for my butterflies already. I'm like, oh, okay. I thought it was more back stitched for the outline, and I was wanting to wait till I finished the colors, you know, because usually back stitching is after you've done the full crosses. But upon looking at it further, they are actually full crosses. And so it's like, yeah, I guess I might as well do that too. So I went ahead and stitched the first one. I don't know how often I will stitch in advance for the next months. Again, that's a more wait and see kind of thing. In case you have not heard of this, if you missed my last video and you didn't see this, each of these is tailored for the month. So this is specifically for January, specifically for February. And the reason it's like that is because it has the exact number of spaces for the number of days in that month. So don't worry about it, you know, all of them be just 30. This is 31, 20. It has 28, but it has the option of how you could fill in for a 29th if you do it on a leap year, then March, etc., etc. So it's got the right number of spaces. Yes. Okay. Some other new starts, because I did a couple of them. I think it was a couple. See how fast your mind loses its... Okay. So this one, let me get out the picture that I have for it, maybe. I did not have everything all set out nice and pretty like I do sometimes. It's kind of like, I need to get this going. Was this one, Christmas Baking Motifs. So when you get this, this is Tiny Modernist, as you can see, and I got the PDF. So it's got a lot of different things that you can stitch. So you can see it's got this big one here, and then all these other ones. This is not all of what you get. You get more than this. You get more options of things to stitch than just that. The way it gets printed, this whole thing is on there, but then there's a whole bunch of other motifs kind of around the bottom on the one sheet, on the one page. They show you the grid middles for everything. So this plus all the other things, they showed you the middle of all of that. So if you were looking at those markers as to where the middle is, because you're going to start in the middle, or make sure you have enough room around the edges for everything, and you use those markers, you're going to be off, because all the things that are on the paper chart down here are not part of this. I found that out the hard way. So let me put something behind. And it was just, I wanted something different. So this is from Hobby Lobby. So this is the type of fabric I got. It's like a gingham is what it is. So I'm going to show you what I started off with first and kind of how it looks. And I didn't iron this, I'm sorry. So you can see it's the gingham look. So here's that. This is the beginning of the word Christmas. So you can see where Christmas is shown here. Okay. So there's that. And as I was getting up here, I kind of went around here because I started questioning things out as I started doing this one. I think, something doesn't seem right. And then I counted and I looked and I checked and I double checked, and that's when I realized the middles are marked for this one that I'm working on as well as all those extras. So I started over because it was going to leave me like this much at the top or something, and it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So I started over. So you can see there's the new start that I did. Get my stuff up here. It's very cute. Tiny Modernist tends to use a little bit brighter colors, so if you don't like that, you might have to dull the colors down just a little bit. But as you can see, these are different motifs over here because this is what will be on the other side, and I may either have to pick these out or they will just barely fit here, and this will be part of just the finishing part that I will put behind, so it won't be seen. But you can see, here's where Christmas is, and it should be down here. It should be lower, quite a bit lower. And it's going to make a difference. And I think, if I remember right, this is what will go next to this cupcake. So you can see it's quite a bit higher as well. Yeah. That didn't make me very happy to have to start over again. I mean, if I really didn't care and I left it that way, then I could have messed around with a really tiny border edge to finish it. It's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to squeeze those on there and then hardly have any room. So as you can see, I want to show you some really cute little things. The little tiny gingerbread guys. She's got her frilly little dress. He's got his little shorts with buttons on them. And you got all the little cookies on the sheet. Yeah. It's fun. It's a fun. He's got a funky mouth though. I'm not sure what's going on with his mouth. But it's turning into a fun little thing. And it's, it's Christmas time and we do a lot of baking, some of us. So very appropriate. Okay, so that was a new start that I did. Another new start that I did a long time ago. So this was probably actually finished, I want to say like October. I had it finished a long time ago because I knew I needed to have it done in order for what I needed to, the timing and all that. And I'll get into that here in a second. So I actually finished this a long time ago. So I'm going to show you what it is. Kangaroos with their presents in their pouches, Santa. So this is called Christmas over Southern Hemisphere. And Twin Peaks Primitive is the one who did this. Okay. I think I got this from Market in the spring. And that's when I got this. So I did this, as I mentioned, I finished it. I changed a lot of things. Here it is. So I'm going to show you each of these. So we got our Aru with all his lights. I got Aru with a dolly. I got the candy canes. I've got Aru with a ball. And then Santa is a little bit different in that I changed the bird and I did not include all of the other things that were in the sand or make that sand area as big. So I didn't put this in. I did not put the ho-ho-ho or the star in. And I think I just had to squish everything a little bit closer together to make it so it wasn't as wide. Because I needed to have some space on the ends. Now, the reason I put 4 instead of 2 is because it didn't seem like it was enough. Now, I can't put 7 reindeers on there, like Santa has up in the North Pole. But 2 roos seemed like not enough. So I added 2 more, and the one had a tree, and that just looked a little funky, and I won't go into why I think it looks a little funky like that. You can use your imagination. So I did not want to put the tree in, which meant I was going to have to basically chart my own stuff. And so that's what I did. I charted the lights that are kind of his little necklace as well as going into his pouch. I charted the dolly. The dolly has French knots for hair, so it's just a whole bunch of little French knots. There's not a lot of room to chart something for these pockets, I'm telling you. The candy canes were already one of those that were charted, and then the ball. And unfortunately, I didn't want to put the cross beams like this, so the color changes just, up and down and across. I wanted him to be a little bit different, but to me now he kind of looks like a little alien sticking his head out of it. Oh, I tried. And then I changed the bird, so instead of looking like a parrot, I changed it to a different bird. I charted that and changed it. And here's the reason why. I was going to send this to somebody in Australia because it's down under. So I was going to send this to somebody in Australia, and I wanted a different bird that was more appropriate for Australia, that was, and I did look it up. I looked up different birds, and so I found this one, and so that is why I put that in there. I think it's called a honeysucker. It's one of them. The proportions aren't quite right. I think it's a little bigger than it would be in real life. But in order to make it look correct, I had to make him that size. So, as I mentioned, I got this done way early so that I could send it and get it there in time, as well as, make it look like more Australia-y things. Our postage is not going to Australia right now. I don't know how many countries are having that problem, or if it's just the US, but nothing is going to Australia. And I've even asked the people that work in our little post office in our town as to why, and they're like, well, we don't really know why. We've heard things like you have, which are there's not enough workers or COVID related things, and nothing really seems definitive as to why it's not going. So, I will not be able to send this as I had planned. So, I will save it, and maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to send this next year. Because it was going to be a gift. And I'll just have to wait. So, this is something I had done one of the other months that maybe I had showed you stuff where I hadn't gotten quite as much done as I wanted to because I'd been working on that so much. But now I get to show it to you. I also finished another project, and I'm going to wait and show you that in January's video because it was a gift, and I am sending it, and I don't want somebody to see it before. So there is something else I did work on. So the other thing I got that was Stitchy related, purchased way back at the beginning of the year because it was these sowls that we would get throughout the year. And that was the Stitching Book Club. We did Little Women earlier in the year. We did, what was the last one we just did? And now I'm drawing a blank. There's been a big, long gap because she's been sick and she did just move. So I can't remember was now. I can't remember the second book that we did. Oh, Sense and Sensibility was the first one. And then we did Little Women. And now she's put out the third one. There was potentially going to be a fourth one. It wasn't going to be included with our purchase for the whole year. It was going to have to be a separate one, but she's going to hold off, and that will be next year. So the one we got most recently, The Great Gatsby. So we're all supposed to read The Great Gatsby and have discussions about it, and this is the stitch. She normally puts these out kind of like a mystery cell, so you just get parts of it as you're stitching along, and that's what happened with the other two. But because she hasn't been feeling well and it got so late into the year, she just put the whole thing out so we could see the whole thing. Now, I like Art Deco, and I love, you know, especially the lettering, how they did this and all these motifs and stuff. So we'll see. I don't know if I for sure am going to stitch this or not. I have started reading the book, so it's not that I won't do that, but I'm kind of up in the air about this one still. I just don't know if I'm going to do it or not going to do it, or maybe change some of it so that, you know, I just don't know yet. We'll have to see. So those are my stitching things that I did. A couple other things that I was going to talk to you about that's been going on. So luckily, this should be a little shorter video. Not as bad. If you haven't noticed, because I haven't talked about it or said that I'm going to talk about it, there's going to be no new bags that I will show you. It's December. It was hard enough getting things ready to show you in the last video with just holiday stuff, you know, coming up and whatnot. So with December coming and Christmas and all that, it's just, I'm not going to have time. Hopefully though, and I know that means if I want to have video or bags ready for the next video, that means I will have to start working on some in December. But maybe the rush of getting the trees and the decorations and the baking and all that stuff will be behind me, and I will then have some time to focus on doing that before I do the next video. So if you are still interested in bags, you can still go on my Instagram site, The Bags by Wendy, and remember there's underscores between each word, and just scroll through my past posts. And then if you see something, I mean, people are still coming on, and they will find things that are older that are still listed there and get them. So it's not that you can't do that. So take a look at that. I do want to do a big shout out, thank you to the 911 Stitcher. She got one, I believe she got a bag, and then she showed it on her video, and I got a whole bunch of people starting to follow that Instagram site as well as ordering some stuff. So huge thank you to her for doing that, and for all of you who have come and looked at my stuff or started following me. So thank you. So two other things that are going on. Tomorrow, actually, I am leaving to go to Dallas. I'm going to go, well, we fly into Dallas. That is not my final destination. I am going to be driving from Dallas down to a little itty bitty, blink and you'll miss it town called Calvert. The best way I can describe is it's on one of the major highways. It's only a 2-lane highway, but it's between Waco and College Station. So if you know where those two are, it's only about a half an hour from College Station and about an hour from Waco. So if you kind of come in, you would potentially find Calvert on the map. My mother lives down there, so I'm finally going to go see her. It's been a couple of years since I've been down there, so this will be nice to be able to come and see her again. So yeah, we'll be doing that. The other thing that happened, it's been a month full of moves. Our friends moved into a new house, and a week later, my kids moved into an apartment. Oh yeah. So my daughter has lived out of the house a couple different times. So when we lived in Minnesota, she moved out, and then when she moved back here, she lived with us again for about a year, and then ended up moving out and getting an apartment. So it's been a couple years since she's been out of the house as well for that. Our son, who turned 21 this year, has not lived out of the house before. This is his first time not only living out of the house, but paying for it. All the goodies that go along with that. So they are rooming together. They got a 2-bedroom apartment together. They get along very well. So having brother and sister, it's not going to be a problem at all. So that will be interesting to see how it goes. I think they'll get along fine. It's just, what will the apartment look like? Don't know. I'm scared to find out. So because they moved out, that means for the first time in 26 years, my husband and I are living alone. We're empty nesters. It's so weird. Now, our son was pretty quiet, so he would go to work, he'd come home, he might talk to us just for a little bit, and he would kind of disappear into his room, and I might hear him as he's playing video games with friends online, and he's talking to them or shouting or whatever, so I might hear that, and occasionally I would go talk to him if I needed to about something when he's up in his room, but it wasn't like he was really around us a lot, but it's still something different. It's just not a huge difference, so it's been kind of fun. The only bad thing is that when he was living here, there were different things that we would break up in taking care of our cats. So feeding them in the morning, in the evening, their litter box, the water, all that kind of stuff. So we kind of divided up all those chores. Well, now I have to do his. That's okay. I want the cats, so I will do it. So yeah, that will be interesting to see how that all goes, and fun stuff. So yeah, and as usual, I have forgotten to talk about my hay. I did do quite a bit. Well, I say quite a bit. I did finish a good enough amount for the amount this month. I got my hands on a lot more than I have in the previous months. I am going to show you the progress, but I'm also probably going to show you a clip because I have pretty much reached the end of the row, and then I'm going to start going back across the next row. So I'll end up scrolling it and changing it as I will unscroll the whole thing of what I've stitched so far and show you the whole progress. I like to do that whenever I'm going to move the scroll, is be able to let you see how much has been done so far altogether. So I will put that in. And so yeah, it's lovely. I love it. It's just taking so long to get finished. And with that, I think I'm going to head out. I was hoping this video would be much shorter, but it might be a little shorter, but not a lot. And I will see you again in about a month. Hopefully you'll have a great Christmas, great holidays, all that good stuff, and you have a nice time with family and friends. And with that, we'll see you again later.